So this week's chapter of One Piece was definitely a lot more progressive. I felt it covered more ground, and ultimately it focused on more of the serious matters opposed to last week's, for the most part, purely comedic chapter. This chapter showed more of the serious nature and kind of had some cool setups in it as well. Now, for starters, in the beginning of this chapter, it really makes me question what the hell is going on with Manchetti. Is it some sort of trap? Are the Tontatas once again misled? Because we know that the Tontatas are practically borderline retarded, because Viola's been there for quite some time and she's never even heard of Princess Manchetti. So that's either one of two things. Either one, the Tontatas are being misled, or two, Princess Manchetti's power is so vast and incredible that they never wanted her to find out and they just hid it from her. Or there's something definitely there, because at the end of the day, for her to not have heard of something like this once, if Princess Manchetti's powers can really help them out, then what the fuck is going on? It makes you really question if Princess Manchetti is actually just some bamboozling trick again, or ultimately they just wanted to hide it so bad because it's such a good power. And also, Viola found her. She's in some sort of room and she knows more or less where she's at. So at least we got some progression on the Tontata aspect, even though, again, like I said last week, I'll say it again, I don't really care about the Tontatas anymore. At the very least, it looks like we're gonna hopefully pass that part soon, because the thing that about the Tontatas that gets me the most is I don't get why Oda's doing this to us, where we have amazing things going on, like the most interesting things that I would love to see going on right now, and instead of looking at like these incredible fights, or, you know, some of the stuff like with Zoro and Pika, or especially Sabo and Admiral Fujitora, we're looking at the Tontatas bumbling and stumbling about, and it's like, I want to see more of that, not these little crusties. Although we did get some pretty cool action in this one with the Gladius versus Robin and Bartolomeo bit. That little setup there first when they were landing and he was just bombing them and shit. And I really want to see Bartolomeo prove himself in front of them, because as far as, even though it's comedic, it's also serving what his character is all about, Bartolomeo. And if he was to impress Robin or any of them, first of all, it'd be hilarious as hell, and I think that would also push forward more of Bartolomeo just kind of doing what he would love to do, and that's to be able to hang with them. If they invited him, which I'm fingers crossed, if there's going to be any new Straw Hats, I'm leaning towards, again, Bartolomeo. I was leaning towards Rebecca prior to Sabo snatching up the Mera fruit, but as of this point, I can honestly see Rebecca at this particular point now. She needs to stay here at Dressrosa once everything is over. Very similar to Vivi. I think it's going to go down like that. So as far as the setup there, first of all, you got some pretty cool shit. Gladius throwing them bombs and shit, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But then also you got Bartolomeo and Robin, which I didn't expect to see that combo working together to fight one of the Don Quixote off. So I'm a little bit excited about that one. I ain't gonna front. And that was a quick nap for Sugar. She's already awake and she's turning everything into toys in her sight. I really hope, but I think it's going to happen, but I really hope it doesn't happen, that Luffy and them they're going to come across her and she's going to turn them into toys, and then we're going to have to do something else. I don't think it'll be that drawn out that they need to do like 8 chapters worth of trying to put her back to sleep or some shit, but I could see for a short time being they're going to run into her and maybe she'll turn a few of the Straw Hats into toys yet again, which I don't really want, because at the end of the day we already passed that, and I was hoping that Sugar would be knocked the fuck out for a long time, but she's already back up, and it's like, oh my gosh, it seems as though Oda's kind of circle jerking us with some of these events. It's kind of like, oh, I want to see Sabo, Fujitora, I want to see the greatness that is going on right now. And then we got these immortal fucking nutcrackers where Luffy and Cavendish are giving it their all, and it was just like, what the hell was going on? But probably the best part of this chapter was the setup, something that's been coming a long time, Rebecca versus Diamante. Now, I'm not saying that Rebecca should dominate him in the slightest. Rebecca should absolutely struggle in this fight, assuming we get to see this fight, because I don't know, every fight is happening off camera. I want Rebecca to actually struggle, but ultimately, I want her to overcome the tears. First of all, no more crying, Rebecca. This is your shot. Fuck him up. This is her mother's killer. This is a piece of shit right here. I'm excited about the setup as well, because this is going to serve the character Rebecca, and ultimately this has been something that this entire arc has been leading up to, everything that we found out about her past, what Diamante's done to her life, fucking her whole shit up. So with that being said, this is a perfect time. And overall, it was a good setup to end for the chapter. Ultimately, the chapter, far better I feel than last week's chapter, but again, we had a lot of Tontada stuff, a lot of jokes, a lot of like Usopp joking around saying, hey, you know, Sanji would love that power, which I'm sure he would, but a lot of this chapter, again, is kind of like, there's some stuff with the tontadas and some stuff with the jokes and stuff like that that we could use that panel time to see greatness, you know? These fights that are going on right now, in particular, once again, Sabo and Admiral Fujitora. Just think about that for a second. And Admiral and Luffy's dead brother that recently came back and we found out he wasn't dead are going fucking at it with the Mirror Fruit. I want to see that. But it was a fine chapter this week. Definitely, again, a lot better than last week's. It wasn't all focused on comedy. We got some progression. We got a good setup at the end. So I'm going to give this one 6.5 out of 10. It was a fine chapter. I'm looking forward to seeing Rebecca. Please, Rebecca, this is the time for her to get that character development to overcome all the BS of, you know, crying and being sad. Fuck Diamante up, please. And hopefully we don't get skipped out on this Bartolomeo versus Gladius fight as well, because this looks kind of cool, and Bartolomeo now can prove himself to one of his senpai. Let me know what you thought of the chapter. Are you disappointed once again that we didn't get no Sabo and Admiral Fujitora or any more Zoro versus Pika? I mean, we have some great stuff out there, but ultimately it was still a pretty fine chapter, and I'm glad we got progression, and it was just going back to the main thing of what's going on right now. So that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it, and if you haven't subscribed, you can do so as well. That'd be awesome. I'm Finette World, and as always, people, have an awesome day. So this week's chapter of One Piece was definitely a lot more progressive. I felt it covered more ground, and ultimately it focused on more of the serious matters opposed to last week's, for the most part, purely comedic chapter. This chapter showed more of the serious nature and kind of had some cool setups in it as well. Now, for starters, in the beginning of the chapter, it really makes me question what the hell is going on with Manchetti. Is it some sort of trap? Are the Tontadas once again misled? Because we know that the Tontadas are practically borderline retarded, because Viola's been there for quite some time and she's never even heard of Princess Manchetti. So that's either one of two things. Either one, the Tontadas are being misled, or two, Princess Manchetti's power is so vast and incredible that they never wanted her to find out and they just hid it from her. Or there's something definitely there, because at the end of the day, for her to not have heard of something like this once